Hi, and thanks for popping along to look at my little video I've composed today. Now today's video is about buying second-hand items off of places like eBay, car boots, second-hand shops, thrift stores, yard sales, anywhere like that where you go and buy a second-hand electrical item that you don't know where it's come from really, you don't know the background of that particular item, and it's got a plug on it. Now in this case we're looking at a UK 13 amp plug, and this here you could call maybe an old-fashioned type UK plug, because most UK plugs these days, if you buy something new anyway, and it's going to be on some second-hand items obviously also, is a moulded plug where you can't actually get to the wiring inside. The wire there is all moulded. The only thing you can get to is the fuse, and the fuse may be mounted horizontally or vertically should I say, depending on the plug. What you can do is actually check the fuse. Just put the screwdriver or your nail in the little gap there, that's their little recess. Not an easy thing. I've had this out about 10 times to do this video, and there you go. The plug's going to fall on the floor. In this particular case it's a 3 amp fuse, and this is just for a little cassette deck I think this come off of, so 3 amp is fine. It's not going to draw any more current than that, but if you've got a set maybe of tongs or especially air dryers or a toaster or something like that, in the UK here it's probably got a 13 amp fuse fitted. And you can always double check that. You could always find the appliance you've got, try and find out a little bit of information online of how many watts it draws, how many watts it's rated at, should I say, maybe an easier term. And by doing the calculations, watts into voltage, you'll find out how many amps. And there's plenty of calculators online for you to go and check that out. But as long as you haven't got a piece of wire soldered each end here, or it wrapped up in maybe some cigarette paper or tin foil, then that should be fine. So we're going to pop that back in there. Not much else you can do, and that is okay. So really we're talking about here today, not as easy as it looks to put it back. I was still fiddling about with that. I'll sleep on the floor. Get in there, get in there. That's unbelievable. How long did that take? Right, okay. Right, okay, back to today's plug in question. Now this plug here was on an amplifier I bought. Like I say, this could be anything electrical, but in this particular case it was an amplifier. This is a channel that does second-hand hi-fi, and this is an amplifier that I've done a little video of just a couple of days ago. It's a Sansu amplifier. I'm just very going to quickly show you this for my subscribers, really, people that come over to my channel. They will recognise this amplifier. This is an amplifier that I've done a little sound test on literally a day or two ago. And it's an amplifier that I bought quite a while back now off of eBay. Now normally when I get an amplifier or anything, a receiver, anything electrical that's got a plug on off of eBay for my channel, I usually double check that plug, i.e. take it apart and make sure it's wired correctly, all the wires are in nice and tight and the clamps on it, etc. And then I know that I can start reviewing or using the item knowing it's going to be pretty safe. In this case it must have slipped the net, obviously something I didn't do. I'm a little bit surprised because this plug, I'll show you a couple of pictures here, it doesn't really sit correctly neither. You can enough see inside, just a very small crack along the top there. I'll say a crack, just a gap there, it doesn't really sit. So I'm surprised I didn't pick up on that. It's obviously covered in this red felt pen or something like that, that someone's put all red over it. I hope it ain't blood, but it doesn't look that case. Yeah, so it's covered in red, but I would have gone past that. I think it's okay, I'm just doing a bit of testing. No need to worry about the plug at the moment. The only time to worry about the plug is when I come to sell it. And it's an item that I thought, well, I may not use again. Can't keep everything, I wish I could, but space-wise and money-wise, now and again, a few items have got to go to support the channel. And this is an item I thought, well, I've got a new plug on it, and at some stage I'm probably going to come to sell it. I didn't have a new plug, I had a second-hand one, but this is in good condition, so I was going to put that plug on it, and I thought it'd just be a straightforward job of me swapping over them plugs. But to my surprise, I come to open this up, and when I did, you'll see exactly what I see. We can see this is the state of the plug. I'll show you a picture on the screen now, and a few things you're going to pick up on. First of all, the silver paper wrapped around the fuse, not a great sign, and it's very dangerous as well. Then you've got the wire into the live. There you can see it's all sticking out all over the place, fraying and everything else. As with the we get in there, maybe the earth is a little bit like that as well, just a tad, and also the neutral. But another thing also is the clamp on it there. If I can just show you in this video rather than pictures, you can see the clamp there is actually holding the wires rather than the actual black cable itself, so that's not great neither. All these wires are far too long for the plug. It's kind of been pushed in there as much as possible and clamped down. Now, why would you worry about this fuse here? Well, this is the fuse. This is going to be the main fuse for quite a lot of people, i.e. with air dryers, toasters and things like that, some heavy ampage equipment. This is going to be the main fuse protecting that equipment from maybe overheating, catching fire. I don't want to scaremonger or anything like that, but it is a slight possibility, and causing any more damage. Now, for people with more sensitive items like this little amplifier, computers, games consoles, etc., if that was to develop a fault, you would rely on this fuse coming in quite quickly before it causes any more damage. So yeah, quite important obviously that fuse to be the correct one rather than a piece of silver paper. Now in my particular case, this amplifier has actually got its own fuse also in it. Inside the unit it's got a fuse which is actually on the back plate, and that would be rated about 3 amps as well, I think. So in that case, the fuse in my amplifier would go rather than this fuse here. But this may not be the case, like I say, on your toaster, TV, amplifier, computer, games console, etc. So best to get this replaced. Now, a thing just to maybe a little bit worried about also is, why did this particularly go in the first place? And why has it got this silver paper on it? You know, did he put another 13 amp fuse in there, or 3 amp fuse, and it kept on blowing? And in the end, he thought, if I put a bit of silver paper on there, it's never going to blow. It's going to keep on working as it should. So that's something to bear in mind when you come to replace that fuse. If it went to go again, i.e. if it blew again and the item didn't work after replacing the fuse, then obviously something seriously wrong with the item that needs to be checked out. So just be a bit wary when you come to plug it in for the first time when replacing that fuse with the correct one. If it does blow, you know, get ready to turn it. Well, don't need to turn it off because it's obviously gone open circuit. But you know, don't use it again. Put it aside, get it checked out by an electrician, because obviously something not quite right there. Another thing I wanted to pick up on is also, like I said, I check these screws here, make sure they're nice and tight. And the reason I make sure they're nice and tight, the wire's in there correctly, and they're not obviously wired up correctly as well. In this case, in the UK, the brown going to live, the yellow and green going to the earth, and the blue going to neutral. Obviously check your country where you are, what wires should be in the right place. But the reason I make sure these screws are nice and tight is you don't want these wires all flicking about inside, all moving about, and also arcing. Now, if I can just show you with my hand, hopefully this is going to come out okay. If we can kind of imagine where this wire is going into the pin, is this socket here, this is here, this is the wire, my fingers are the wire, do excuse me. They're going in, and we're going to have a screw inside, and it's going to come down, something like that. It's going to clamp that wire into position there, like so. We don't want this wire wibbling about like that, because it's going to cause what is known as arcing. May cause a little bit of interference to your item, i.e. an amplifier or something like that, may kind of crackling going on in the background, but can also cause damage. This arcing, it can kind of make the ampage, the voltage and the current spike a little bit, and can cause damage on a low consumption item, especially like a computer or something like that. You don't want to do that and start damaging any of the circuits. Even though they're smoothed out with capacitors inside, you still don't want that happening. So, you know, obviously get that nice and tight. For a bigger item, something like an iron, a toaster, maybe an air dryer, something like that, something that's drawing some big watts, it can cause sparks inside, and it's not going to do the item any favours neither. So you don't want this going, you know, this freaking about as it can do. It can move about and cause damage and maybe spark as well. So bear that in mind. And obviously if it's something like the earth, you want to make sure that's earthed all the time. So if anything did happen, it's going to ping straight away your RCA on your fuse board, or you know, it's just earthed as well, to make sure you don't get that electrical shock. You don't want this kind of be floating about, and when you need it the most, something's gone wrong, you go to touch it and get that electric shock. So just be a bit careful. I'm not going to say this is going to cause an house fire or anything like that. I won't go that far, but it's always best to you know, be on the right side of that caution. So in this case, I'm going to rewire this into this plug here, this new plug, or new second-hand plug that's in good shape. And I'm just going to show you a picture of me actually just that wired up there now. There it is on the screen. I've done that now. And, you know, that is okay now for me, like I say, to pass on to someone else when I wish to do so, knowing full well that that plug has been wired up correctly. The amplifier has been fully tested and is okay. What I should do now is double check it once I plug it all in. I know it's okay because I've literally done that a few ago before putting this video together. This amplifier says it draws 45 watts maximum, and I've been tinkering around with it for the last half hour or so, fair high volumes as well, and it was only drawing 15 to 20 watts, so well within the, you know, the range it says. So it's nothing wrong with the amplifier. Not too sure the reason why the bloke or the person put this fuse in like so, but in fact what should we do, just for a matter of interest, if you want to stick around with me, this is the first time I've actually took it out, to be honest with you. This is the first time now. We're going to have a look and actually see what it is when I get it out. Oh, there you go. If you're still sticking around, you're doing really well. So there you go. It was a 5 amp fuse he had in there, and I don't know what that is, silver paper, fag paper, what, I think it's just like normal silver paper, but he obviously had a 5 amp fuse in there, and that blew for some reason. Maybe this amplifier, maybe not, I don't know, but at the moment this amplifier is working fine. I've tested it out, it's been working fine and drawing the correct current. Maybe he's just stuck this plug on from somewhere else, coming to sell it on eBay. That's the kind of thing that does happen now and again. You may have something for sale you bought second hand yourself from a charity shop or car boot or something like that, and you think, oh, I better stick a plug on it, and this is the kind of thing that's happened. If we unclamp this, if you're sticking around with me a little bit further, you can go now, kind of thing, but I'm kind of like just going a bit further, just a matter of curiosity now. Hopefully you can see what's happening of how this is actually all been put together. Oh, well, I mean, I literally just took that fuse out, and just shows you how much wide that was in there, wide up. It wasn't wide up at all, because that screw, I don't know if you can see that, that is pretty much all the way down, I think. There may be just a very, very slight gap in that. Not too sure if I'm going a bit further away there, if you can pick that up. Let's just bring this light in here. It looks to me that that screw is all the way down, so that wire was just literally pushed in that hole there, what was left of the hole, the screw being in the way. So that wasn't very well done. Now these other wires are in tight. Yeah, so that screw was tight, but the wire wasn't actually underneath it. And if we just take these out and just have a look at the state of this wiring, this is a terrible wiring of a plug, that's for certain. So if we just push this out of the way, and we're just going to try and take these wires out and have a closer look. Just undo that a bit more. There you go. This is the kind of wiring that was put in this plug. Hopefully you can see that. If I just get that light on it a bit more. Hopefully this is showing up on the video. But yeah, that was the kind of state of that wire. And obviously these wires are far too long. If we pull that there, you can just see that these are far too long, these wires, for that plug. Anyway, thanks for staying around right to the end of the video. And like I say, double check them plugs and anything you buy second hand off of these eBay site kind of things, Craigslist, places like that, and thrift stores and charity shops, all that kind of stuff. Okay, until my next video, I'll say thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon.